Welcome to Wild Basin Wilderness Preserve. This preserve protects 227 acres of beautiful Texas hill country habitat right here in Austin. It's part of the much larger Balcones Canyonlands Preserve, which covers about 50 square miles. Many rare and vulnerable species of animals and birds live here. That's why we protect the land. This is a great place to enjoy being outside and learn about the natural world. So, are you ready to go exploring? Do you guys know where you were born? Well, I do. I was born right here, in the heart of Texas. Right here is another native Texan. Oh, hold on. There we go. This special bird nests and breeds only in central Texas. So if you see one, you can be sure it was born right here. Today, we're going to learn from our friend Darrell Hutchinson just who these birds are and why they come all the way to central Texas just to have their babies.
Hi, my name is Darrell Hutchinson. I'm a biologist for the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve, and I study the golden-cheeked warbler. The golden-cheeked warbler is a small migratory songbird. All golden-cheeked warblers are born here in central Texas, so all of them are native Texans. However, they spend much of their year in the wintering grounds in the pine oak forests in the highlands of southern Mexico and Central America. In fact, they spend most of their time there, about 6 months in the wintering grounds, about 4 months here on the breeding grounds, and about 1 month traveling back and forth. So why would a titchy little bird fly thousands of miles in order to breed here in Texas? Well, the reason is that it's tracking resources. Golden-cheeked warblers are insectivores. They have a high metabolic rate and they need to eat insects all day, every day, or they're going to die. But wait, you might say, don't they live in the tropics? Don't they have lots of insects down there? Well, yes, they do, but a lot of the insects there are relatively long-lived, and therefore they invest in predatory defenses. So imagine large beetles with hard carapaces, or long mantids and stick insects that are very, very well camouflaged, or caterpillars with urticating spines. Also in the tropics, there's more competition for prey and many, many, many more predators. The tropics are filled with hawks and lizards and snakes and monkeys and other rodent species, all of which love to eat bird nestlings and bird eggs. In fact, birds that live in the tropics tend to nest more frequently and put fewer eggs in each nest in order to hedge their bets against predation. So birds migrate in order to escape some of that predation, and when they arrive here, there's an abundance of food. We live in Texas, and Texas is subtropical. It's buggier here in the winter, buggier here in the summer than it is in the winter. However, many of our warbler species migrate all the way to northern Canada, northern US and Canada. And there's an explosion of insects in the temperate region, and the insects are very, very easy to capture and and because they're very short-lived, they don't invest in defense mechanisms. All those small little black flies and mosquitoes, they all just hatch from the egg, grow as fast as they can, reproduce, and then die. And they try to do that as many generations as they can. So for the birds that make it, then there's lots of food and fewer predators. The problem with migration is it's very, very dangerous. So it's a huge trade-off. Every single year during spring and fall migration, millions of birds perish trying to travel from the breeding grounds to the wintering grounds or back and forth. They might be caught up in a swarm, get caught in a storm and be blown off course. They might be confused by all the electric lighting and smash into a building. They might run into a power line or a wind turbine that they can't even see. Or they might be flying and landing at a stopover in order to feed and find out there's no food available because there was a very bad storm, or that their feeding spot has been converted to a subdivision or some other kinds of human development. Migration is fraught with peril. This is the escarpment live oak. Escarpment live oak is evergreen deciduous, which means that it has leaves on all year round, but it drops leaves continuous. So it's evergreen and dropping leaves. Now, a study was done of warbler prey abundance, and the study found that in March, the adult moth species lay their eggs on the tender shoots of the red oak tree. And then in April, other species of moths lay their eggs on the leaves of live oak trees. And then later in the season, they lay their eggs on juniper ash. So all three species are principal components of the golden cheek warbler in order to find enough prey in order to feed its young and bring that clutch to survival. This is the ash juniper tree. Ash juniper tree is also known as cedar, as in cedar fever. Now the ash juniper tree also has lots of caterpillars that lay their eggs on it, but it also supports a lot of spiders. Now when we think of spiders, we think of tarantulas, or we think of great big orb weaving spiders that have, are this big inside a big web. But many, in fact, most species of spiders are tiny little things that live in the leaves or in the crevices or in the notched bark of the ash juniper tree. So together throughout the year, the golden cheek warbler is able to eat and feast on the red oak, the caterpillars on the red oak, the caterpillars on the escarpment live oak, and later the caterpillars and the spiders of the ash juniper tree. The other essential contribution of the ash juniper tree to the golden cheek warbler is nesting material. When the female golden cheek is ready to build a nest, she'll look around through the mature ash juniper trees and select specific pieces of bark, which will fly up to the top of the tree, and then she'll mold it and adhere it into a shape, a cup nest, and then stick all the pieces together using spider webs, both to make the cup and to adhere the cup to the base of the tree. Now, the nest itself is made of the juniper bark, and the interior of the nest is made up of softer materials like fluffy seeds, feathers, maybe even fur if she can find it. It takes about a week to build the nest. Now, could a golden cheek warbler build a nest out of other materials? Well, possibly yes, or conceivably yes, but the answer is no. And the reason is because every single golden cheek warbler was born in a nest made of ash juniper bark. So when it's her turn to build the nest, she's going to select juniper bark, which is why the golden cheek warbler is dependent on mature ash juniper trees for its survival. The nest itself is not the warbler's home. The nest is analogous to the baby's crib. The warbler's home is this larger space that the male and female warbler defend as their territory. And just as we cannot survive in our single homes all by ourselves and need to go to grocery stores and schools and have friends and places of recreation, and our parents need to go to work, the golden cheek warbler needs a vast expanse of habitat in order to find food, water, shelter, materials to make the nest, to find mates, and to interact with lots of other warblers. So although our preserve conserves 32,000 acres of habitat, it's really not that much, because for a population of golden cheek warblers to survive, we need a broad expanse of continuous oak juniper woodland.